Whoa. Welcome to my sauna. These cabinet doors were built by Eli's dad, who's filming. It's where I store all my clothes. Cool. Don't have much. Hanging clothes, drawers, under drawers, garbage and laundry, more clothes and other storage stuff. In the emergency situation, I do have a portable toilet. It's a Thetford, has like biodegradable chemicals. It's sort of like a porta potty, and then you just dump it. It's a cassette toilet. I don't use it much, like I said. It's kind of not worth cleaning. And this is all red, Eastern red cedar, I believe. It's aromatic, so when it changes humidity and temperature, you can smell it. All this siding is sheet. It's like a laminate, and then these are all plank, sort of like closet lining. Under all the wood on the ceiling, I have ceiling and walls. I have 2-inch polyiso foam insulation. And then under the floor, we pulled the whole floor out. This was the original floor, as you can tell by the shittiness. The original floor from the DHL delivery van. We pulled that up, put a subfloor in with 2x4s, and then put rigid foam insulation in and some Reflectix, which is like a bubble wrap insulation. So we did that on the floor, the walls and the ceiling. It's all 2-inch thick, so it keeps it either really hot, like a sauna, or really cold in here, depending on what you want to do. I have a carbon monoxide and propane alarm and a smoke alarm over on the other side back here, so it's relatively safe, I would say. I have an exhaust fan, so all the propane and all the gas and stuff is exhausted. All my light switches are here. Got some nice IKEA lighting, and then in the back too, and then a brighter overhead light for souffleing and broiling and whatnot. I also have a heater here. This is a S-bar heater. The whole unit's in the back, but this is the exhaust for it and the control right here. That actually pulls fuel from the diesel tank. This is a D2, in case anybody cares, but that'll pull diesel from the main tank and burn it. And I think on full blast, to keep this warm, it burns like less than a gallon over 24 hours, which is really nice. In here I have my electronics cabinet. It's a bit of a mess right now because I had to replace the circuit breaker with a fuse, but I have everything on circuit breaker so I can turn it all off. Solar on the roof charges the batteries, which are in the back, as well as the van alternator, and I'll show you the whole container later, or the whole unit. But I have all the circuit breakers in here, like I said, so I can shut off van power if I want. I can shut off power coming in from the solar panels, could shut off the lights, that kind of stuff. And I have another circuit breaker panel here. These are for the AC circuit. I have a 20 amp thing that I can run a drill or a blender or whatever I want off of it. And then this side is all the fuses for the DC stuff, like the fridge, the water heater, the gas alarm, that kind of stuff. In case I ever want to add some stuff, I have spare ports in there, add Christmas lights or something, make it a little more decorative. I'm missing my Kelly from Saved by the Bell poster too, so it's pretty bland. Okay, so that was my living room and bathroom. Here's my kitchen. That was a long walk. Anyway, I have a sink, which is run off a diaphragm pump. Under the sink I have all the water filters and pump and that kind of stuff. Here's my never forget your canvas bag, save the world. I have a 7-gallon clean water tank, so I fill that up usually at the grocery store with some reverse osmosis stuff or at a hose or something. 7 gallons. That runs through a sediment filter and then a ceramic filter. And I can turn the filters off if I just want to wash dishes or something. And that goes through a pump and then out the faucet. There's no hot water in here, mostly because I live in Texas and it stays hot all the time. And then all the water is just drained down into a gray water tank, which I empty like once a week or so. Usually in a proper place, but sometimes just on the ground because it's all fancy rich people soap. This countertop was actually made by Eli's dad as well. From Ash, I believe, from the farm we build jumps on and ride at up in upstate New York. So he built that for me and I put a coat of poly on it and it was done. I was thinking about a diesel cooktop, but instead I just went with the good old Coleman. Cook every day, usually. So I just flipped this guy up, hooked the propane on. Eli's been cooking bacon, so it's kind of a mess, but But anyway, that just slides in there. I kind of built the cabinets around that, so I may get a new stove or an induction cooktop at some point, but that works. I have some cooking stuff here. I have all my food. I have some tea, canned goods. It's basically 2 shelves of food. I usually can get away with a full week of groceries and have plenty of storage left over. Some spices, you know, to make my food taste less like dog food. Under the kitchen counter we have silverware and Tupperware and cookware, and got this fancy new cutting board at Wegmans. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. I also have a blender, which I clamp to here, and it's a hand crank blender, a camp one, because I realize there's a lot of amenities that you kind of want, because I live in it full time, so it's nice to have the accoutrements of home. There's the fridge. This is an Edge Star fridge. It's pretty efficient. It uses an angle compressor, I believe, so it only draws like 5 to 7 amps all the time, and it's 43 quarts, so it holds like a full week's worth of food. This is basically a week worth of food for 2 people in there right now. That's just on cabinet drawer sliders, so you lock that down so it doesn't slide out while you're driving. I have the jump seat that was originally up front, because this was a delivery van. That'll fold down here, and that's kind of my kitchen table seat. I don't use that much, but anyway. So this is a stool that I just use to move around, store stuff in. Use it mostly to step up onto here and extra storage. The table was kind of a last minute thing while I was building it last year. You just unhook it from the wall, fold that up, and this drawer slides out like that. Fold your seat down, put that down, and then the reason this is like it is so you can still get to the fridge once you've already set the table, which is convenient because I always forget stuff. That was the kitchen and living room. This is where nothing happens at all, except a little bit of sleep, but pretty minimal. This is a 2 or 3 inch, I forget, latex mattress, so it doesn't hold moisture, it's eco-friendly, whatever. Nice and comfortable. Eli's been sleeping on that, and he's been digging it, I think.
It's really comfortable. I'm surprised since it's hard underneath and it's only like a couple inches.
We have some carpeting and some carpet padding underneath, some bandages because Eli hurts himself all the time. Protection, can never be too safe. Just a little knife. So that's the bed. Above the bed I have 2 cabinets. I have 4 actually, 2 with doors. Mostly backpacking and camping stuff. I have my backpack, 2 sleeping bags. Gotta have my since I'm sponsored by Nike and Adidas and Puma and all that, you know, I gotta have my shoe collection up here. Some bear mace. You never know when you're gonna need that. Just got these for 15 bucks, sponsored by Vans. Yep. Backpacking stuff. I actually have more storage than I need, as you could see by that cabinet being empty, so it's pretty crazy living in a van and having too much storage. So anyway, this is a Max Air, or Max fan, I forget, vent fan. You just pull this guy down, open her up. This kind of doubles as a sunlight or sunroof, and then the on button's back here. It's got 4 speeds, and that'll pull air from the front. I usually leave the windows cracked a bit, or if the back's open, it'll pull air from there, and it keeps it really cool in here at night. Keeps a nice breeze flowing. I also have another little tiny DC powered fan that I plug in and just have blowing on myself, but because it's 100 degrees in Texas. I have a curtain up there just so when I open the back doors, people don't see that I live in here. Although it doesn't really matter anymore, but you can open that up and have a good view for wherever. We'll show you the view where we're currently parked.
Cool.
Yeah. Let's go to the back. So we are on some abandoned road in Tennessee somewhere in the Smoky Mountains. We kind of just found it while we were driving around. Gatlinburg's down there somewhere's over there, and then the big old mountains. That's a big pile of stuff that we pulled out so my van looks clean while we're showing it. And then, you know, this is our view. That's the beauty of having a van. You can just, home is where you park it. That's already taken on Instagram though, so I'm kind of screwed. I don't know what name my name's gonna be. Doug's Nugs van, Doug's Rubs. All right, so here's the back. I actually just redid this whole thing right now. It fits 4 bikes. 3 of them are mine, one of them's Eli's. It's got basically a full bike shop, so I have most of my easy access tools hanging on the pegboard here, bike stuff specifically. And then over on the other side, the other door, I have, shout out to Park Tool, hooking it up. Got a Park Tool stand here, and Pedro's too. That's like liking Pepsi and Coke at the same time, but I don't care. I like them. I don't like them. Anyway, Park Tool stand here, so you can hook your bike up, work on it, full Allen wrench set, sockets and whatever. These are cool, so you don't need to like throw your stuff on the ground or use a fender bench or whatever. You just use little totes. Who'da thunker? Okay, so in the back, like I said, we have 4 bikes. We have my big bike, dirt jumper, Eli's bike, and a cyclocross bike. And the coolest thing I think about the van right now, after remodeling, is all the storage it has. So I'll pull this all out and show you what it looks like. It's a little latch right there. Make sure it doesn't run into the doors while we're driving around. And it's a little wonky getting it out with 4 bikes, but anyway, this whole thing's on a slider. So the whole tray of 3 bikes will come out like that, and you can get to them easier. All the mounts are on 80/20 rails. I didn't mention that in the inside. All the furniture is bolted to the wall on 80/20 railings, so I can slide it around if needed. So this can pretty much accommodate any bike, you know, fat bikes or whatever, even though I don't really want people with them in my car. So these will slide out. You can pull the bikes off. My road bike stays fixed under there. I'll pull that out and show you the storage though, but I get that out every day and ride to school. Purple and gray and whatever totes in here, so that we have helmets and stuff stored in there, and lights and riding gear and some van stuff. And then this flips up as well. I have my toolbox here. I don't know if you can see right now, but in the back of the van I have some tire storage, a toolbox which is basically full of bike parts because everything breaks, and some helmets. And I also have a truing stand back there, which I pull it out. It's just on wing nuts, and I pull it out and bolt it right to the front here. I can slide this bike back and bolt it right to here, since I don't need a true wheels that often, but we have it in case we need, so we don't need to spend a ton of money in a bike shop. Yeah, so this is one of the cool things. It's crazy, anybody who's doing this or doing something like a tiny home or whatever, it's crazy to see how much more storage you can get if you just start storing vertically, sort of. So I don't know if I can get this out too easily. There we go. So anyway, there's my commuter bike. We turned the bars around so we could fit everything in there. Doesn't really matter too much, whatever. Jump it off curbs anyway. So what I was talking about with storage is I put some, oh, there's a cricket, that's cool. Van life. Anyway, so before I had just this slider thing, and it was like a step down sort of to the original flooring. That was inconvenient because you just couldn't use the space very well. So on both sides I raised it up so that it's a level surface, and in this case I can like pull the drawers out from my toolbox without needing to pull the whole toolbox out and whatever. And then I just stored all our bike stuff, and this one kind of all the like the long skinny items, tools, whatever. And then that just locks down like that, and then the road bike was stored right there, and I have some storage in the back which I'll show. All right, I think we're both going in the tunnel of love. Yo, what's up, dog? Welcome to my crib's garage. You just have to crawl through the whatever. Come on in. So this is it's a nice cool garage, temperature controlled so that my Porsche and my Ferrari don't get scuffed. Here's the Airtronic heater that I was talking about. So that sucks air in through here, and then it brings, actually there's a hole drilled in the floor as well, which brings in air. This is cold air intake, and then it'll combust the diesel fuel and the air mixture in here and blow the hot air out there. It's all contained. You can actually touch the surface while it's on, and it's not even too hot, which is nice. Under here I have a big old assortment of nuts and bolts in case things break. I have my oil change thing, toolbox like I mentioned. Here's the electrical cabinet, which I don't know if I can get to with, I'll just open it up that much with the thing there. As you can tell, van life comes with moving things out of the way to get the other things basically. So I have two VMAX tanks. I think they're both 100 and they're 12 volt batteries. I think they're both 120 amp hour, so it's like 240 or somewhere around there. I forget exactly. That actually lasts me quite a while. If it's not sunny, I have 3 100 watt panels on the roof, and these batteries, which, like I said, about 250 amp hours. So if it's not sunny for like 2 to 3 days, the power will be down to about 65-70%. I try to keep it charged up to about 75% most of the time to make the batteries last as long as possible. So if I'm dropping down below 70, I'll usually start the van up and drive somewhere if need be. But I rarely drive while I'm at school, maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks. I'll have more about this on whatever media I end up doing, whether it just be Instagram or a website or a blog or something. But I'm using C-Tech chargers, and those are really cool because you just or charge controllers, because it's a solar charge controller as well as a DC to DC converter from the alternator. So you essentially just have one unit, or in my case 2, to give it a little more current, instead of having a whole separate circuit system. So it's nice. I also have an inverter back there, that blue thing back in the corner, if you can see that. So that way I can run, like I said up front, I have AC circuit, so I can run a blender or a drill, and I have some outlets back behind that white shelf for power tools if I need. Speaking of power tools, most of my tools and stuff are in here. I have it's kind of a mess, but we packed stuff up so we could fit 2 people for this trip. I have some power drills, jigsaw, whatever. Have a bunch of suspension fluid and bike lubricants of various sorts, which is good because I had to rebuild Eli's fork while we were on this trip. I put some beer koozie material type stuff on the wheel wells to keep it down. I also have 4x8 sheets, I believe, of this on most of the large panels in the van, so that the noise is reduced pretty significantly. I think that's it for in here. You come out of your garage, your man cave per se. Your wife doesn't know where you are. It's smelling like sour sauce. Okay. That's my garage. All right, this is the coolest part of the whole van. You don't need to be rich to feel rich. That's a sound stream. Tell you what, it's used. It's got a rear view camera. I can't really do that because I don't want to start it up, but I can park this thing like a bus in a bus spot. I don't care where you go, but you gotta get the heck out of here. I think that's how they end it, right?